What up, ladies and babies? Today we're checking out the Friedman BEOD. I've been trying to make this video for a long time, and I'm finally doing it. So let's check out the pedal. That's basically my way of turning my clean deluxe reverb sounding amp or my UA Dream, depending on what I'm doing, where I am, into a just filthy, distorted pop punk, thick, chuggy deliciousness. So, and that is all possible thanks to the Friedman BEOD distortion pedal, the best distortion pedal I have ever tried. I would like to try more. So yeah, if anyone's watching this video and thinking, you know, I make pedals, I make a good distortion, especially if it's like of a Marshall Silver Jubilee. I'm extremely interested because I love the Silver Jubilee. I don't know why. I don't even like Guns N' Roses that much. I don't even like Slash that much. I just love the Silver Jubilee. It's just so great. Anyway, so I really love the Friedman BEOD. This pedal, I don't think deserves enough credit. It really has some of the best controls on a distortion pedal that are super versatile and help it to work with any amp, particularly Fender amps that can be a little fizzy or a little dark or a little scooped, you know. I do wish this thing had a mid knob, but it has two other controls that are arguably more important than a mids control. This pedal has 6 knobs. It's real simple, even though you might be used to, a 2-knob or 3-knob distortion. I'll explain it really fast. So we just have, side input jack and side output jack, 1/4 inch, 9-volt center negative DC power jack on the top. No battery is allowed in this pedal. You have a nice, not too loud, clicky true bypass switch here and an LED right there, so you can see whether or not the pedal's on. Right now it's not powered, so it's not on. And then you have 6 knobs. So let me rapid fire explain all of them. So let me see if I can read this backwards because the screen's mirroring the video. So we have volume here, which adjusts the output volume. You have gain here, which adjusts the amount of distortion, clipping. There's also an internal gain trim pot that allows you to adjust the range of gain or like the maximum amount of gain, which is super nice. And then you have the tight control, which cuts bass pre the drive circuit. So if you turn it all the way up, it cuts a lot of bass before the drive circuit, making your sound really tight. And if you turn it all the way down, it allows more bass into the distortion circuit, making it more flubby and fat. So if you have a thin guitar, you can turn it down. If you have really fat humbuckers, you can turn it up. Or if you want kind of a looser, more rat style distortion, turn it down. If you want kind of more of a super tight metal kind of sound, you can turn it all the way up. Okay, and then you have bass, and then treble, which are these are post drive controls. So that's why the tight, you have 2 bass controls really. Think of tight as pre-drive bass, pre-distortion bass, and bass control as post-distortion bass. So you can turn the tight control up and then turn the bass up, and then you get a tight but fat sound. Or you could turn the bass down and the tight down, and then you have a loose but not too fat sound. So you can kind of control the tightness and all that stuff. The treble and the presence controls just control different regions of the frequencies in the kind of upper trebly regions. So treble is going to be kind of at your kind of between more like 2 kilohertz to like 7 kilohertz. So it's really in that kind of presency, or trebly region where, correcting for a single coil guitar, right, to make it sound a little bit darker and smoother. And then the presence control really is like a fizz. Think of it as like a fizz control knob. So if your amp's really bright and open and it has a lot of fizz and you want to kill the fizz, you just turn the presence control down. If your amp is like a Blues Junior and it sounds like a wet blanket is on top of it, you can turn the presence control all the way up and really get more of that realistic kind of filthy open top end to really open up the presency region. So yeah, with those controls, it's pretty simple. I love this pedal. It's really great for recreating pop punk, heavy rock, distortion, butt rock, I guess, dad rock. This thing rules. I love it. I gotta say it. It's really great. It turns your clean amp into just an absolute filth monster. So yeah, it's just the EQ controls are so special, so great, so easy to use. So I'm going to do a couple examples and a playthrough, and then that'll be it for the video. So, all right, welcome to the playthrough section of the Friedman BEOD. A couple of notes on signal chain. We've got a Squier Starcaster that's been modified with new wiring, but still has the stock pickups. It's going into a Universal Audio Dream on the greenback cab. EQ's at noon. The boost is off. Gain is before breakup. Sounds like this clean. We are going into a buffer before the pedal. It's going into the Boss NS2 noise suppressor, which is currently turned off. There's also the Boss Super Overdrive right here that's buffering the signal coming in. So you get a couple of Boss buffers. There's a JHS modded Boss volume pedal, which used to be passive until JHS modded it to have a buffer to split to the tuner. And then I have buffered bypass for the Boss 500 series pedals up there that you can't see. So there's buffers in my pedal board. Get over it. You know, obviously the cable and the pickups that you use will change the sound. So that's a thing. So let's go. Oh, one other thing. I'm running this pedal at 18 volts, and I've adjusted the internal gain trim pot. So when I adjust the gain, don't be surprised if the gain on your pedal, I think I turned it down. So there's probably more headroom in my pedal right now than your pedal will have. So keep that in mind, and just know that the maximum gain that I turn my pedal to, you probably can get more, but if you adjust the internal gain trim pot and run at 18 volts, then it will sound like this. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could take it off the pedal board and adjust the trim pot back to stock and switch my power supply to send 9 volts to the pedal, but honestly, I didn't notice a huge difference. I did notice the gain pot did make a big difference because now the gain's just easier to control. It's just more in a sweet spot. I can get it lower, less gain if I want, and the maximum amount of gain is still pretty good. So when I have the dial cranked, it's kind of roughly equivalent to like 3/4 of the original taper. So yeah. Anyway, let's go. Okay, let's mess around with the EQ a little bit. I'm going to leave the gain. Let me just pop it up a little bit more. But I feel like noon is a good spot, at least where I have the gain trimmer adjusted. It tends to kind of respond well to pick attack still without being too oversaturated and compressed, and all of that goodness. Okay, so one of the most important controls on this pedal is the tight control. It adjusts the bass pre-distortion. So as you turn it down, you're going to have a looser sound as it will let more bass through. So let me demonstrate that. You hear that definition went away? So yeah, definitely gets flubby right about here and on this guitar with humbuckers. So you can compensate for, like what I just did, you can compensate for turning up the tight knob by adding more gain and more bass. So when you add more bass, it's adding this bass controls after the distortion circuit. So turning it up doesn't affect the tightness, which is good. It's kind of like old school versus more modern amps. So like a really modern sound would be like, you know, like a rectifier, boosted rectifier, you know, or something like that would be like cranking up the bass and cranking up the tight. And then like a more like old school, like cranked Marshall sound would be just turning them both down a little bit, kind of get a more traditional sound. So anyway, I kind of like it here. This kind of a sound is pretty nice. Tight turned down a little bit. Bass kind of just attenuating a bit. So here's it all today. Hope you enjoyed this time. All right, so moving on. Next, we have treble and presence, and they basically just control different regions of high end. So the treble is kind of controlling your 2 to 3 kilohertz, and the presence kind of controls the fizzy stuff above 5K. So let's hear that in action. We can utilize these to kind of de-emphasize a really fizzy, harsh speaker. So let's flip the cabinet model on the Universal Audio Dream from the greenback mic to the 121, which is very smooth and kind of dark in the very top end, over to the Oxford mic to the SM57, and what sounds like they put the SM57 right in the center of the cone. It's very harsh and kind of rough sounding, but let's try to use the presence to try to tame that. Much more kind of top endy. Oh, let's try presence control first. So yeah, you can hear how we really took that really harsh, awful sound and just quickly tamed it with the treble and the presence knobs. Now, I know there's going to be folks out there who are going to be like, man, I really wish this thing had a mids knob. You kind of don't need it. I mean, it would be nice, but I really find that with the 4 EQ knobs, you can kind of balance it. So if you want more mid-range, just pull the bass, treble, and presence controls back a bit. And then if you want less mids, you just push up the bass, treble, and presence controls, and it pretty much just balances that way. So I don't know. I don't think you really need a mids control. Next, let's try boosting it with the SD1 and see what we do. So let me set it kind of loose and flubby and show you what it sounds like when you boost it. But then we'll also try kind of a tighter sound, see if we can make it tighter. Okay, so there's our SD1. Set to boost. We'll go back to the greenback for this. Yeah, that works pretty darn well. Let's try rolling up the tight knob. I mean, you could just do that, but let's try boosting that. So yeah, you can get some stuff out of it. Now let's see if we can get some kind of low gain tones. Yeah, by adjusting the internal gain trimmer, you know, this is pretty low gain. It's harder to get it because if you turn the tight down, then it adds more gain. So it's kind of harder to get low gain tones with the tight controlled off. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really do that kind of rounded low gain overdrive type of thing. That kind of round fat sound kind of has that kind of, still has that kind of beef to it where it just wants to take off. Thank you very much for watching this video on the Friedman BEOD. This video is not sponsored in any way. I have no relationship with Friedman other than I'm a happy customer of a used Friedman BEOD. They also make the BEOD Deluxe, which is 2 BEODs in one that let you foot switch between them with the second foot switch, which is pretty cool. I believe it also adds a noise gate or something like that into it, which is pretty great. So that one would be worth checking out. They also made the new Friedman IRX or XIR thing. I think that's what it's called, which is basically like a tube BEOD with a preamp tube, 12AX7 preamp tube or tubes, and then also impulse responses for each channel. So that's very special. So check those out. But man, if you're just needing a better distortion pedal, don't buy a DS1, don't buy a Rat, buy this thing. This thing kicks serious booty. It's super great for getting that tight, punchy, powerful distortion. So see ya in the next one. Bye-bye.